Welcome. This video is documenting the prediction that famous singer-songwriter Paul Simon of Simon and Garfunkel will slip and fall and severely injure his head on December 19th, 2025. The post date on the social media platform that you are watching this video on proves that this prediction is being made ahead of time, as does this time-stamped email and forensic notes PDF document. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I will forward these to you. It was Joshua who led the Israelites in their symbolic 3 sets of 7 around the walls of security of Jericho before they collapsed in God's judgment. Simon's third single release from his 7th album was Boy in the Bubble. The third song from the 7th album was inspired by the TV movie Boy in the Plastic Bubble that was produced by the producer of the TV show Seventh Heaven, the longest running drama series in television history, and God uses records and extremes for signs as well. The Bible records that Joshua died at the age of 110. Simon opened the first broadcast of Saturday Night Live after the 110-story towers collapsed. Okay, and he cold opened the broadcast with the song The Boxer. And boxing is about knocking your opponent and having them collapse to the mat, which hinted at the collapse of the towers, being knocked out by the planes. Simon's 7th solo album is named after the King of Rock's mansion. This song, which contains the third song, Boy in the Bubble, inspired by Boy in the Plastic Bubble, that was produced by the producer of the TV show Seventh Heaven. Okay? Now, after lowering his asking price to $11.9 million, which hints at Revelation 9:11, and also 9/11, which Paul Simon also symbolizes because of his opening of the broadcast after 9/11. And again, this hints at King Apollyon. Okay, after lowering his price to $11.9 million, Simon sold his mansion in New Canaan, Connecticut, the 5th state. And I'll just say that Revelation 9:11 is within the 5th trumpet judgment, all right? New Canaan hints at the book of Joshua and the 110 years of age that Joshua died after the symbolic 3 sets of 7. Okay, so Simon, in other words, the sale of his mansion was a prophetic sign, because obviously Simon sings about the famous Graceland mansion, which I've been talking about in this video already. And so anyway, at one point he lowered his price to $11.9 million, which was prophetic, because that was the first lowering of the price after the initial asking price. All right, and his mansion was sold near New York City, okay, where the towers fell, 110 stories. And the sale of the mansion was exactly 37 months, as in 3 sets of 7, as in the collapse of the walls of security, led by Joshua, who died at 110. Okay, so his mansion sold exactly 37 months before the sale of the mansion in Los Angeles, as in Fallen Angels, that was made, the mansion that was made for the TV show producer who produced the longest running TV drama, Seventh Heaven. So the sale of these two mansions connect with exactly 37 months. And that's relevant because of the third song from Simon's 7th album, which is named after the mansion, Graceland. That song is Boy in the Bubble, and that connects to this TV producer because of Seventh Heaven, because the third song is Boy in the Bubble, and this TV producer also produced the TV movie Boy in the Plastic Bubble, which inspired the song Boy in the Bubble by Paul Simon. See that? Now, the Wall Street Journal news headline regarding this sale included, quote unquote, storied mansion. So the Wall Street Journal, because of the walls of security, collapsed, and Joshua dying at the age of 110 after they collapsed. Okay, so the Wall Street Journal, as in Wall Street, where the foundation of Federal Hall was cracked due to an earthquake that was engendered by the collapse of the towers. And that's where Washington was inaugurated, the first president. Okay, so the Wall Street Journal was the main news agency to carry this story. And the headline said that the sale was of the storied mansion. Quote unquote, storied mansion. Because of it being made for the TV producer, the most prolific TV producer in history, by the way. God uses extremes and records for science. So the storied mansion was sold, and 110 stories collapsed on 9/11. The sale of the storied mansion was for $110 million. And it sold exactly 9 plus 11 weeks before it is predicted that Paul Simon will slip and fall and injure his head. Do you see how that's all relevant? Because the 9 plus 11 weeks, because 9/11 when the 110 stories collapsed and this mansion sold for $110 million. And Paul Simon sang to open the broadcast after 9/11. But it all connects through the third song from the seventh album, the producer of Seventh Heaven, the longest TV show. Of course, Seventh Heaven also hints at Simon's album, Seven Psalms, and the sound of silence heard in heaven before the seven trumpet judgments in the book of Revelation, and on and on. So this is an amazing thing here too in this paragraph, as we can see. And obviously this was not concocted within any human being's imagination. It is proof that this prediction is being made ahead of time. But through all of this, we are getting more understanding regarding this story that God is telling regarding Paul Simon. It is a massive story. Paul Simon is so important in so many different ways. It's like, I don't know how to put a label on it, except to say he's one of the most important people in God's prophetic science. He symbolizes America. Okay, and so here we get a little snapshot of what God is saying or communicating through the signs and through these stories regarding Paul Simon. And the purpose of the stories through the connected signs is to convey and communicate the extremely important knowledge and information that everyone needs to know. Which is why when the prediction comes to pass for Paul Simon's slip and fall and injury of his head on December 19th, the wise person will recognize that they need to watch every minute of every video on this channel.